I'm back in the entertainment capital of the world. So let's talk about watches worn by Hollywood legends. Okay, so this time we've got 3 watches in the watch box, all of them made famous by movie stars. Basically, this video is going to prove that I'm incredibly superficial and easily influenced. You've probably already seen that I have the Pierce Brosnan Seamaster, I have the Daniel Craig Seamaster, and I have a Rolex Root Beer, a watch that was worn by Clint Eastwood, who for me is the ultimate screen icon, my favorite movie star of all time. Okay, watch number 1. Associated with Sylvester Stallone, it is the Panerai Luminor. So the story goes that Sly Stallone was in Italy. He was about to start work on the movie Daylight, so this would have been mid-1990s. And he came across the Panerai boutique in Florence and he saw the Luminor. Now, I think the watch that Sly bought was the base model. This is the PAM 1312. This is a Marina, which means it has the small second hand. It also has a date, and I know there are some purists out there who don't think dive watches should have date windows. But guess what? I'm not a diver. This watch has been in a swimming pool once, the shallow end. So Sly Stallone bought this watch, he wore it in the movie Daylight, and it became a phenomenon. And you probably worked out by now that while I admire the engineering and mechanics of watches, I'm drawn to aesthetics more. I love the design. This is such a gorgeous looking watch with that sandwich dial, an incredible lume. Does it look ridiculous on my 6.5-inch wrist? Probably, but I don't care. Has Panerai become derided by watch experts on YouTube? Yes. Exhibit A.
People that buy Panerai are special needs anyway, yeah?
But I don't care. Also, I'm big on making memories with watches. I wore this when I played on a live stream poker table for the first time at the Irish Open in 2023. Next up is a watch that's probably more appropriate to my puny size wrist. It's by a brand you might not have heard of, a German watch company called Hanhart, and this is the ES 417. A design from the early 1950s that was worn by one Steve McQueen. When it comes to movie stars, they don't come much cooler than Steve McQueen. Now, no one is 100% sure where Steve McQueen acquired his watch from, because I believe in the 1950s, these were only issued to members of the German Air Force. They weren't on sale to the public. Number 1, I think this is a really cool looking watch. Number 2, Steve McQueen made it look even cooler. It's a chronograph, which means it tells the time and has a built-in stopwatch. It's a very simple, functional design, highly legible, and monochrome, black and white, with just that splash of color, that tip of red on the timing bezel. I should highlight this is a modern reissue based on original designs from the 1950s. It came out in the last couple of years. It has an incredibly comfortable strap. It has what's known as a Bund strap, which stops the back of the watch from coming into contact with your wrist. It looks and wears like a pilot's watch. Very much fit for purpose, but also pretty cool looking. Just one watch to go, so now would be a great time to show your support for the channel. Please like this video, please subscribe for more, and let me know in the comments if there's a particular watch that you like because it's been worn by a Hollywood celebrity. For example, are you into Omega because of George Clooney? Or has Ryan Gosling turned you into a TAG fanboy? I'd love to hear from you. Last but by no means least, it's another big boy. It's the Seiko ANIE. Okay, so this is another modern reissue. This is Seiko's interpretation of their very first Ana Digi dive watch, which came out in the 1980s and was made famous by Arnold Schwarzenegger. He wore it in movies like Commando, Predator, Raw Deal. It was his own personal watch. And yes, it looks like a very 1980s design. It's an acquired taste. When it first came out 4 or 5 years ago, I thought, my God, that's massive and it's ugly. But it grew on me, and the fact that it's associated with such a screen icon, the fact that it was worn in movies which I grew up watching and still love to this day, means I had to have it. Even though this design is pretty faithful to the original, it has some mod cons. For example, it's solar powered, the solar panel being that large dial. I've said before that I like watches that can track 2 time zones, and this basically is a GMT watch. The analog display is currently showing the time here in LA, and the digital display is showing the time back in London. So it's very practical as well as having a very distinct look. Again, this is a tough guy watch. It boosts your self-confidence, and it has a bonus. Did you know this was also a Bond watch? Oh yes, during the Roger Moore era, 007 wore a variety of Seikos, and in A View to a Kill, this is the watch that he was wearing under a tuxedo during the Eiffel Tower scenes. Just a quick style tip, you should never wear a massive dive watch on a rubber strap with a tuxedo. It is a case of blink and you'll miss it, and to be honest with you, most people only realised it was this watch when the deleted scene appeared on the DVD, showing the watch in close-up.
Most unusual.
From Russia. With love.
This is also not a particularly expensive watch, and that's what I'm going to get into the next time I unveil some of the watches from my collection. I'll focus on affordable watches and watches that are perfect for the summer months. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.